AVAX price prediction for 2025. Genius or failure? The data doesn't lie. Did you know that over 90% of altcoins fail in the long run, even though they were hyped up at the time? In this video, we'll see whether Avalanche, or AVAX, is one of them or if it belongs to the few with massive potential. I'll show you 20 hard facts here that many investors overlook. And by the end, you'll know whether AVAX is a no-go for you or an altcoin with potential. Welcome to 10x by Marius, your channel for honest, data-driven altcoin analysis. So, what exactly is Avalanche, also known as AVAX? It's a Layer 1 blockchain that's specifically known for scalability, security, and low fees. It was built to process thousands of transactions per second, significantly more than Ethereum or Bitcoin. What's special is that AVAX consists of 3 separate chains, each specialized for different tasks. Here we have the X chain, which is for assets, then the C chain for smart contracts, and it's compatible with Ethereum. Then there's the P chain for network coordination and staking. This structure makes Avalanche truly massively scalable and fast, while still maintaining a high level of decentralization. What makes AVAX so special? Avalanche solves the so-called blockchain trilemma: speed, security, and decentralization without compromise. It enables the creation of custom blockchains, known as subnets, which can be configured individually. Large companies and DeFi projects can therefore introduce their own rules, tokens, and governance based on Avalanche. It's like having your own little mini blockchains within the ecosystem. Scalable, adaptable, future-proof. Let's move on to the technology behind AVAX. AVAX uses the Avalanche consensus mechanism, which finalizes transactions faster than, for example, proof of work or classic proof of stake. Transactions are confirmed in under 2 seconds, and that with extremely low fees. The AVAX token has a fixed supply. Transaction fees are burned. Staking is used for network security, which means less supply, more active users, and therefore long-term potential. So before we get started, grab yourself a coffee, leave a like for me, and then let's go. But just a heads up, a disclaimer, my channel is not financial advice, it's purely for informational purposes. Imagine you walk into a room with the biggest altcoins Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and AVAX is there too, with only about 8 billion in market cap. Not right at the front, but definitely not a nobody either. A coin in this league has stability, but no longer quite the same upside as micro or low cap altcoins. That's why, out of 720 million tokens, over 58% are already in circulation. That's good, because it means there are few surprises from, for example, new tokens, but of course 40% are still to come, so it's not a real maximum shortage. By the way, if you want to trade AVAX or other altcoins, I recommend my favorite crypto exchange. They have lots of altcoins, low fees, and if you sign up using my link below, you'll even get a bonus. I always recommend registering early with crypto exchanges that offer lots of altcoins so that you can react quickly. All the information is in the pinned comment. Definitely solid here. What is AVAX's roadmap? In December, the big update Edna was released, with better gas fees and subnets, which are now called L1S. It's like a car manufacturer who not only makes promises, but already has the latest model out on the road. Here, strong again. How strong is the AVAX team? Emin Gun, back in 2003, before Bitcoin was even created, developed his first virtual currency. He was a professor at Cornell, so we're talking research, not just buzzwords. If anyone understands tech, it's this crew. A solid 9. The narrative now has AVAX. AVAX wants to solve the blockchain trilemma, so scalability, security, and decentralization, but all within one system. It's like the Tesla of blockchains, fast, flexible, and quieter. Whether it will catch on remains to be seen, but the story definitely fits the times. Here, an 8. What problem does Avalanche solve? Question for you. What do you need for Web3 gaming and NFTs? Exactly, fast transactions, low fees, and flexible structures. AVAX delivers precisely that, and without any issues. Now, what about sustainability? Proof of stake, no energy guzzler, no CO2 disaster, a coin for the next generation of investors, efficient and green. 10. So, what about the capital situation? In the end, they raised 270 million in capital at the start, with partners like AWS and Daylight backing them. This isn't some garage project, it's enterprise ready. A strong 9. So who are AVAX's competitors now? As always, the usual suspects. Cardano, then of course Solana, Ethereum, and Avalanche is right in the thick of it. Faster than Ethereum, more flexible than Solana, but not without risk. It's like a champion, but not yet a world champion. Here, a 7. By the way, if you want to know how it fares against Solana or Cardano, I recommend the playlist, The 10x Universe. I've already analysed loads of altcoins, so feel free to check out the playlist, you'll find quite a few there. And for next week, I've found 2 more altcoins that are extremely exciting. I'll just say this much, especially in the current situation, you won't want to miss them. So feel free to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more insights. How strong is AVAX actually when it comes to marketing? AVAX doesn't create meme coin explosions, but they're consistently present. Conferences, DeFi forums, and good documentaries. No hype, but good PR. A solid 8. How simple is the idea behind AVAX? Subnets, 3 chains, their own layer 1s. It's not a walk in the park for beginners, but with a bit of curiosity, it's definitely understandable. How are you getting on with AVAX? Did I explain it well to you? Did you understand AVAX straight away? Let me know in the comments. Here, a 7. What about AVAX's long-term vision? Avalanche wants to digitize all the world's assets. It's more than just a coin, it's a digital infrastructure. For real estate, bonds, and supply chain too. A solid 8. Then, does Avalanche actually have a max supply? Yes, they do have a max supply, which is already a good thing. On top of that, there's a token burning mechanism. Less supply means more long-term demand. A strong 9. What about the fully diluted market capitalization? Everything's in the green here, not an overpriced coin. 9. How about the liquidity? They have an extremely high liquidity factor, can be traded easily. A strong 9. How was the initial token distribution? Only 10% in the public sale. 50% through staking. The rest is fairly distributed. The vesting, that is, the lockup period plans, are fair. No risk of any massive dumps. Right. What about the top coin holders? The top holders only have about 0.6%. The top 10 only 2%. That's really good. So Avalanche isn't a playground for any whales. A strong 8. What about the actual utility of the token? AVAX is ultimately not just a token. Paying fees, governance, that is, voting rights, staking, launchpad, the backbone of the subnet, all extremely strong. 9. How strong is the AVAX community? Over 54,000 wallets, active on X, active on Discord, Reddit group. You can really tell there's life in it. By the way, are you a fan of AVAX? Do you hold AVAX yourself? Let me know in the comments. Here, strong eel. Next, what events are coming up this year? They need to be visible, extremely important. Extremely large events haven't been announced so far, but there are lots of small upgrades and developments. AVAX keeps moving, but without a big stage. As always, I'll link what I've found for you here. Here, solid AVAX scores 80.1% in my 10x ranking list. That's a strong result. As always, I'll display the 10x ranking list here. By the way, if you want full access to this 10x ranking list and want to get a look into my personal portfolio, here's a bit of self-promotion. Because then I recommend my 10x Elite membership to you. You'll find all the information in the pinned comment, including a tutorial. So, why is AVAX performing so strongly now? The architecture is extremely scalable, which of course brings real technical advantages. They have a deflationary token thanks to burnings. The staking model is solid. It's a clearly led team with an extremely good vision. And with subnets, AVAX offers something that others simply don't have. Above all, the blockchains can be customized for every use case. The competition is strong, but AVAX isn't just copy and paste, it's forging its own unique path. And it's truly a technology leader behind the scenes. Many people are looking at meme coins with some short-term potential, but this coin could be where Ethereum is today by 2030. And now, let's move on to the price scenarios. Let's move on to the bear scenario. Imagine the crypto market remains weak, regulation puts pressure on it, adoption stalls, AVAX only grows slowly, loses real market share and, while technically sound, gets overlooked. In this case, a price between $10 and $15 would be possible. Ultimately, that would mean the coin simply survives. Now let's look at the normal scenario, where the market grows. Institutional investors enter the market. Blockchain becomes standard in some industries, but not yet across the board. AVAX plays a role in the background. Staking, subnets, partnerships. The coin is used, but not yet celebrated. In that case, the potential lies between $30 and $60. Solid, steady growth, making it attractive in the long term for patient investors. Let's move on to the optimistic scenario. AVAX becomes a tool for businesses. Subnet technologies allow companies to have their own blockchains. DeFi, gaming, RWA, all are building on AVAX. AVAX isn't the loudest project, but it's one that's genuinely being used. Now we're talking about prices between $100 and $200. No hype, just substance. And now we come to the extremely optimistic scenario. Imagine the following: everything becomes tokenized. Just look at BlackRock. They actually want to tokenize everything, but at the moment, at least, it's all happening on Ethereum real estate, securities, identities. Avalanche becomes the platform for everything: subnets for major nations, for large corporations, for financial markets. AVAX then becomes more than just a coin. It's the foundation for the new digital financial structure. In that case, prices of up to $400 are possible. But then AVAX is no longer just an altcoin, it's an infrastructure. And now let's move on to the Vision 2030. If we look ahead to the year 2030, only a few projects will probably still matter. Most will disappear, some will be overtaken, but only a handful will define our new system. However, AVAX has the technical prerequisites to be one of those that surpass all the others. The team, the infrastructure, the architecture, the vision. And that's exactly what makes AVAX a coin you shouldn't underestimate. Even if things are pretty quiet around it today, price targets of up to $1,000 or $2,000 are possible. Now that you know the potential of AVAX, I'll link you here to another coin that BlackRock has its eye on, especially in relation to RWAs. Why BlackRock is investing in it, it's best if you take a look at the analysis. So, have fun and see you in a bit.